Today, we're going to be diving into a topic that's important to every business owner, and I'm sure it's something that's resonating with you: getting more customers. And that's the key, obviously, to beer sales. Now, we're going to solve three problems today. We're going to talk about getting more revenue from existing customers. We're going to talk about better serving those who are already coming into your establishment, getting higher ticket amounts. And we're going to also talk about having a method of installed something in your business that's going to help you get more and more and more new customers. What I want you to have in place are some levers that you can pull that are going to allow you to have some control about your revenue and what's happening in your business. Sound like a plan? Let's dive in. First, let's talk about a way where you can have some control about getting folks to come into your business. I think that's a powerful tool to have. And you're going to do that through creating a mailing list. Where ideally I like folks to have both a physical address for folks and an email. But I want to concentrate today on the email aspect of things. And it's something that I think most of your customers would be very comfortable giving to you. And I want to talk about ways to build that list and, of course, use it. The reason I think creating an email list is probably, among all the other things you might be able to do, the number one thing for you and your business to put into place going forward is because it gives you some ability to generate people's visits, to bring them in. And that's what we want to be doing. When we look at your customer base, the easiest way to increase your revenue is you got 100 people in your customer world. If they come to you on average 5 times a year, if we could move that to 7, 8, 9, or 10 times, that would increase your revenue. Now, there's two ways to get folks' email. One is to have a straight join my email list with some sort of incentive to get folks to do it. Another way would be to have a loyalty program. If I was going to choose two avenues, I'd have you go with a loyalty program because I think it allows you to give more to folks and folks will become more interested in what you have to offer. I'm going to put a link in the description to a video I have all about a loyalty program, share the do's and don'ts, and how to easily and quickly put that into play. Regardless of how you capture folks' emails, let's talk about what you need to do with their email address. Now, there's two key things. Obviously, everything you do ties into your brand, but the two key things I want to talk about is every email has to have a purpose and a call to action. The purpose is talking about something that you have. Obviously, things like events you might be doing, new beer releases, situations like coming into the weekend, you might have a special menu item. You might be offering some sort of special 2-for-1, all sorts of different things. Can you see how these things obviously have a purpose? And I think as I explain all those different purposes, you obviously can see that call to action. You're giving folks some reason to get up off their couch or wherever it is they're reading your email and come on in and visit you. But above all else, and this is where I do try and get emails from breweries. I like to learn and watch. Above all else, I want you to make sure that every time you write an email, before you hit send, I want you to say, have I provided value to the recipient? They're your customers. So you have something of an idea of what they like. Clearly beer. Now, if you have a segmented list, you have even more control. And I do recommend segmenting your list. Most of the software that would allow you to capture email addresses will provide you with ways to segment. And I would strongly encourage that because, again, we're talking about giving them value. If I get a bunch of emails from any business and I feel like it's just a shameless plug, they're just trying to stick their hand into my wallet and take my money, I'm not that interested anymore. And what will eventually happen? I'll stop reading them and or completely unsubscribe. Not what you want. I would rather you not send somebody an email, not send customers an email, than send an email that comes off poorly. So keep that in mind. Now, I've touched on some things, and if you're saying right now, gosh, email sounded kind of hard, I don't do it, and I don't think I want to dive into it, it's not really that hard. The beauty of it is there's a couple of key things you got to get right, and then you know what will happen? It'll work like a charm for you and help you increase sales and revenue. And I've got a complete PDF to help you put this in. So right now in the comments, put email, and I'll make sure you get that PDF. It's a step-by-step guide, and you'll feel comfortable going forward with this. And if you do have something in place, it'll help you do it better. Next way to increase sales is looking at your menu and making changes. What you've got to do as a business owner, and it applies to breweries as well as every other business, is you've got to get a sense of knowing what your customers want. The better you understand that, the better you can answer that question to me if we're sitting down face to face, the more successful you're going to be, the more product you'll sell, the more revenue you'll grow. If you didn't have a sentence and a response the minute I asked that question, what do your customers want? You've got to learn more. There's a couple of ways to make this happen. One is, and maybe my favorite way would be the casual survey. Walk around, recognize and talk to your regulars. If you don't know them by name, learn them, but talk with them. And casually, in a bit of conversation, drop in questions like, oh yeah, what beer are you drinking right now? Oh, great. Do you like it? What made you pick that? There's tons of questions to get a sense of why did this person order that item off your menu? And the better you can get a sense of that, that'll help you understand where the power is in your menu and where you might have some holes. Valuable information that can generate more sales and revenue. Of course, you also have to keep aware of trends. We understand that folks right now are maybe having some IPA fatigue. That's something to obviously factor into decisions about your menus. And the other thing, and the thing that every smart business owner will do, the pathway to generating more revenue, all based in testing. And that means try something, put it on the menu, see how folks react. Because at the end of the day, fact is, doesn't matter what I think your customers want. And here's the most important thing to take away from this video. Doesn't matter what you think your customers want. You know what matters? What they want. And they will vote with their pocketbook. Another thing I want you to consider when you're looking at your menu is, are your pour options in line with what your audience wants? And there's two elements about your pour option. One thing that factors into a customer decision, of course, is the price. And then the second is obviously the amount of volume. We both know those go hand in hand. So I would, again, talking about testing, let's say your smallest pour is 10 ounces. Try an 8 ounce. Your smallest pour is an 8 ounce. Try a 6 ounce. You need to test things. Don't sit there and say, I know, if you haven't tested. The investment in a small batch of glasses to see how things work could well be the difference between a month being profitable and a month not being. Trust me when I tell you, I have been involved in tests on different elements in my own businesses, and I've helped numerous businesses do testing. And please understand that we have ideas, we don't have the answers. And you want to test this pour option because it's a smart way, for an easy way, to get these answers, and those answers can provide you with the right path forward. Now, I can only talk from a macro vision. Right now, I am seeing the fact that folks want some uniqueness and some differences when they walk into a craft brewery. So right now, if your menu isn't providing a broad enough reach, you need to test and expand. In those areas, I'm probably not breaking ground with you, but those areas, a variety of different ABV levels. You want to look at non and low ABV options. And I would also encourage you to look and stray as far outside the realm of normal as you possibly can here, because nationally, uniqueness is winning. And you want to go as wild, and that could mean creating a crazy type of a beer. That could be a situation where you go right off the beer elements on your menu. You could go into wine, kombucha. There's a wide range of places you can go. What would fit with your brand and your market is the direction you need to go. But I will tell you, almost without exception, every brewery right now, if you pick the right avenue to uniqueness, You know what's going to happen to your business and your sales and revenue? They're going to grow. The third lever I want you to pull is creating experiences for your customers. The way you go about doing this revolves in first, I want you to kind of look around and think, what's missing in my community and how do I fill that void? Unlike 5 and certainly 10 years ago, you need more than just beer and food to get people's interests. And the other element I'll tell you, if you've got trivia night and things like that that seem tired and worn, if they're doing well for you, stay with it. But don't be surprised if you're seeing a downturn in some of those things. So you've got to be creative in this element, and you got to be different, and you got to be fun. This you can learn doing surveys, talking to both your customers, your good customers, your regulars, as well as your staff. Get ideas, start to put some things in place. Now, I would plan at a year-long level. I'd look at having events and what I call micro events. You only want to have 1 or 2 events under normal situations. Listen, depending on your size and your staff, if you can do more, I encourage it. Don't look at this as me putting a throttle on anything. But if you're not doing events, just start with 1 event. And that's that type of thing that requires a lot of planning, maybe a chunk of capital, a lot of work. Now, the micro events, very little to no capital, very little planning. You want to do those things on a somewhat regular basis. What could be a micro event? It could be Silly Sock Day. We're celebrating Silly Sock Day. Now, you might be saying, hey, Trip, that also sounds silly because that doesn't fit your brand. Every event, every beer, every food, everything has to fit your brand. I don't want you flying by the seat of your pants here. I want you to watch this video right here where I'll show you how you can easily have micro events for pretty much every single day of the year that you want. Once you get this concept, you can kind of look at my whole year, different things, have something, 1 or 2 different things going each and every month, everything that fits your brand, and it's going to create situations where people will be drawn to come to your business more than they are now. So watch that video right now. I'll see you over there.